big meat and potato elements I'm going to discuss is narcissism, because narcissists are the personality type that are typically going to be the one committing the greatest amount of domestic violence. So the more red flags you're able to pick up, the more you're able to tell the patterns, the better you're able to protect yourself, be aware, make plans, and implement them. So let's look at what we're going to go over today. We're going to discuss quick stats, the number 7, why it's important, steps to leave, narcissism, apps and resources. And I know it says resources and safety planning, that's kind of redundant, don't worry about that. So on the first slide, you'll see these quick stats. And unfortunately, this is true. Every single minute in the United States, 20 people are physically abused by an intimate partner. Every single minute. That's not every 20 minutes. That's every minute, 20 people are being harmed by the person that says they love them. Think about that for a second. All right? That means 10 million people per year suffer some form of abuse. 1 in 4 women, 42 million, 1 in 9 men suffer intimate partner violence at some point in their life. And so that turns out to be 40% of black women in this country, and we see 25% of Latino women are actually the victims of intimate partner homicide in this country. That number is 30% for black women. 1 in 6 people are narcissists. 1 in 6. And if you want to find research that's great for this, go on YouTube, look for Dr. Ramani, Ramani. Fantastic doctor, breaks down, she's been studying narcissism for decades and breaks down who they are, why they are, how they operate. So it's a great resource for you to go back to and review. The goal obviously is like, what if we could drop these numbers, right? You know, part of having faith, part of why we're all drawn to church is because we have hope. We have the belief that life can be better, it is better because of our faith, and it continues to have the potential to grow to a better place. So that's why we are here, because of Blessed Bishop and Pastor, the opportunity to have this conversation and spread the word, right? Amongst you who are here, talk to others so you spread the word. And this conversation can go on and on and on, and information can be spread like a torch and light. The goal for those who are suffering from domestic violence is to go from awareness to planning to implementation, all right? Awareness, planning, implementation. The number 7, why 7? On average, it takes a person who is suffering domestic violence 7 to 8 attempts before they actually do leave, okay? And this is for a number of different reasons, just touched on a few. And we're gonna go into, as you talked about the cycle of abuse, something to think about from a neurological perspective. When you are with a partner who is selecting you as their new supply, as the term goes for narcissists, and they say, you will be my partner of choice, and they love bomb you, and they keep you in close contact, and they oversex you, and they overgift you, and they overlavish gifts you, something internally happens that you do not have either awareness or control of, and it is your neurotransmitters and your brain chemistry is shifting. You are having oxytocin go off the more you have physical contact with that person. That's called the love bonding chemical, right? The more oxytocin you share with someone, it doesn't matter what they do, you will feel like you love them. That's how babies bond with their parents. That's why I tell dads, have skin to skin with your child right out the gates, because that's going to create a bond with that child. If that child is given to someone else and has skin to skin, that child will have a bond with that person. That's just how we're built as machines. God's funny like that, right? Pluses and minuses and everything. So you have this oxytocin, they're giving you gifts, they're telling you compliments, they're flattering you in a way you may have never received before. That's going to set off dopamine, endorphins. You're being drugged. You're being drugged by someone who's wearing a mask because they know that they're going to control you and manipulate you and take everything they can from you, every chance they can from you. And that's why we need to make more and more aware of this. So when they see it coming, they say, wait a second, this is too much, too fast, and it can't be insincere. If it is sincere, great. Let me see if we can slow it down. And do you burn out? Do you get bored? Or do you shift? Because you have to have strategies, and then you have to play love properly. You can't just jump in head over heels. It's not safe. So these are the 7 reasons. Because there's threats of violence, which some people will use, and that keeps someone in the home. No one wants to be hurt. Not everyone has a safe place to go. You have financial dependency, as Jess illuminated. A lot of people in a domestic violence situation do not have control over their money. Anyone who's watching this, anyone who you can speak to, and you have the conversation, quick question, in your relationship, are you in charge of your money? If they pause, If the answer is clearly no, just let them think about that for a second. Like, shouldn't you be in charge of your money? It's your money. You should have say. And I get it. In family dynamic, there's agreements, and a certain money has to be spent on certain things. It's not a question. I have a 4-year-old daughter. There's certain things. Got to pay for this, and this. No questions about that. Mm-hmm. But you have the freedom to say, I'm gonna go out with the girls tonight and just have a couple drinks. If you have to ask permission in a way where no is more likely than yes, you have to pause and think about that. It's not that partners can't say, babe, maybe that's not a good idea because we're saving up for vacation. They're getting conversation, but if it's just no without much reasoning, no because I don't want you out of my vision, I don't want you out there, think about that. I'm not saying it's a guaranteed sign, but think about it, I tell my wife, if you have a situation where you can't quite put your finger on it, think about it. Something's off. Physical and emotional manipulation is just talked about, is physical violence, and that's, as she illuminated, it's important, intentional attacks. If that's happening, I have a rule of 2, man. If someone messes up with me, I give them one chance of forgiveness. After that, it's on God. I'm out. I've got time to find out what you're gonna do with that. Isolation and lack of support. This is one that abusers use routinely. And when you figure out the patterns of abusers, it starts to actually be easier to avoid them because they all follow a very similar template. And it becomes obvious once you start to see that template playing out. From the start of the relationship, they will demand your attention, your time, your physical proximity. They'll say you don't need to go out with them. They'll question when you want to hang out with friends or family. Mm-hmm. And eventually get to a point where you feel guilty wanting to see your friends or family, friends you've known since childhood, friends that are your closest friends, even certain special occasions. It could be a funeral, wedding, and you feel like you have to ask permission as opposed to like, I'm going, bye, I'll see you when I get back, you don't have to come, I don't care. You have the right, you all have the right to do what you want to do with your time, with your people. There is no one but God who should be able to tell you, no, God's not really gonna do that. God's like, yeah, go ahead, you're free. You're a free person. But be aware of it. If you're being isolated, if you feel like I have nowhere to turn to, if you feel like I haven't spoken or seen my friends in too long, there's something wrong with that. Intentionally or unintentionally, just be aware. Awareness is the key. Fear and severe anxiety. And anxiety is something that I think everyone struggles with in different ways. Be aware of your version of anxiety. In the mental game, a lot of times I look at anxiety as question asking that doesn't have an answer. So you do the what if, or the what about, and you're just repeating that question that you don't have an answer for, but you just keep attacking the possibility of anything good happening. It's used in a way where it's not used for the good. Like, well, what if I win a lottery? Then I go here, and then this, you're not doing it for anything good. It's always like, well, what if this goes wrong, and then this goes wrong, what if this goes wrong, what about this situation? And it's if you find yourself in a spiral, pause, take a beat, take a breath, take a walk. If you're not allowed to take a walk, evaluate the situation again. But recognize your programming. We all have mental programming that we follow. We all have templates that we follow that are on autopilot. It's not anyone's fault. That doesn't make you good or bad. It's just a factor of being human. When you recognize your thinking, you use a little metacognition. Say, think about your thinking every now and then. How do I think about the situation? Do I think this is hopeless? Is it hopeless? Have I been in a situation where I thought it was hopeless and I was wrong? Okay, so maybe I'm wrong about this. Maybe some good can come. And turn to your networks of support. Oh, and the other anxiety is what if, what about, and yeah, but. So sometimes people will tell you to try and offer you hope. They'll try and offer you leverage, try and offer you faith. And you say, yeah, but that's not for me. Yeah, but that's not really going to work in this situation. Yeah, but you don't know him. You don't really know him. And if you use the yeah, but too much, again, that's closing doors. You're closing doors on yourself. You are closing doors on yourself with that kind of thing. So that's why I say be aware. But that's what happens with these kind of relationships. You get so used to being hopeless that you just say there's no point in trying, and you have this learned helplessness across all boards. And it's on us to be aware to say, no. I have to try. I'll tell you something aside from all of this, right? Cynicism, being jaded, those are tools of the devil, right? The system thrives on you saying, nah. Thrives on it, okay? Every system of the adversary despises optimism. It despises a maybe. Even a maybe. If you can't say yes I can, then say maybe I can. Start with that. Start with something your brain can hold on to and say, let's build off that. Maybe I can see a better day. Maybe I can do a little better. Maybe I can get out of this situation. Because it's true. Other people have, so can you. So can people you know. So please tell them to use new types of thinking. Next slide, we're going to talk about reasons behind emotional attachment. You got to recognize an abuser has 4 main goals. The main overarching goal is domination. They want to control you. You are theirs. They want you to know you are theirs unquestionably. And if you're not, they will have consequences that you won't like until you find a way to separate yourself. All right? The way they do is they remove your agency. They want you to have no agency. They don't want you to have a will. They want your will to be their will. That's it. No conversation. They want you to have no self-worth. If you have self-worth, then you can challenge them. Your only worth is what they tell you you're worth. And they might tell you you're beautiful, you look great in this, you're a great singer, you're talented, but they want that reserved for them. They don't want you really thinking it. They want you to shine and reflect back their words to them. All right? They want you to have no faith. Okay? And this is really important to think about. They want to erode your faith. And what is someone to you who wants to erode your faith? Dangerous. Because it's not just faith in God, it's faith in yourself.
Come on.
It's faith in yourself. So if you don't have faith in yourself, it's so hard to operate across the board of anything. Just catching the bus, you might, I'm probably going to miss. It's small things, you know? It starts with small things and it builds to bigger and bigger. There's no point in going back to school because I'm exercise your own faith every day. Whether it's through scripture, whether it's through affirmations, whether it's through exercise, whether it's through your community. Make sure you're building whatever faith you can every single day. Small bits adds up, builds up, builds up. And they want you to have no independence. They want you to be completely dependent on them for as much as possible because that feeds their ego and their sense of control. The sad element about an abuser is that when you strip away their methods and how they treat others, who they really are is exceptionally insecure and sad and very low self-worth. They need to feel better about themselves, and they've learned the only way I can feel good about myself is to make other people feel beneath me. If I can step on top of someone else, then I know I have worth. And they can't break out of that, which is sad. So while this seems counterintuitive, I am in a church, and I will say pray for them. Because, I think it's Mark 2:17, Pastor, forgive me if I misquoted, but the physician does not come for the well, he comes for the sick. So while you don't have to date them, pray for them. Put it like that. You're right. All right, so reasons behind emotional attachment. You have the trauma-bonded cycle of abuse that Jess went through. The mythical capacity for change. And she talked about this in that one word, hope. And it's both beautiful and dangerous at the same time. We hope they can be better. They promise they will do better. I'm never going to do it again. Check it out. If they promise they're never going to do it again, but they already did it again, they're going to do it again.
That's right.
I'm saying this, behavior analyst Chris Lake will tell you that all behavior continues as long as it is useful. If them treating you like dirt was useful, they will do it again. Pure and simple. That's just going to be the template. I'm sorry. They can say whatever. They can hold the Bible and swear to you. It is what it is. So be aware, while people do have an unknown capacity for change, all of us have the unknown capacity for change, which is beautiful. People have done incredible transformations. TV shows thrive off that. We love seeing people transform. We love seeing our people transform. We love seeing ourselves transform. So it's always a possibility. However, the rate of change for most abusers and narcissists is dramatically slow. It is glacial. So you will have to sacrifice your life with and for that person to really see that change carry out. And you have to ask yourself, are you willing to give your life to your abuser? And not in the sense of they're going to bury him, but in the sense that you will not thrive. You will not live a life where you have independence and agency and without fighting for it and without being exceptionally patient. That's not saint work. I'm sorry, it's not. It's self-martyrdom for a bad cause. You can pray for them. You can tell them, I'll give you resources. I'm going to give you help that you need when you need it, but I have to take care of my spirit, my mind, my life, my child, whatever it may be. And it's hard because they're charming, not for nothing. Post-isolation phase is another reason for emotional attachment. They typically will separate you from your network, separate you from your family, from your friends, so you are isolated, usually in the home with them. So it's kind of hard to leave someone who might chase you to the door and block the door out, right? So once you're isolated, you need to start asking yourself, how do I reconnect with people? And I tell others, find excuses, right? So we all have social media, or most of us have social media. Happy birthday is a very easy way to reconnect with someone. I haven't spoken in 3 years. It doesn't matter. Happy birthday, how you been? reconnect. Most people are willing to reconnect. Most people, unless you've done something really egregious or betrayed them in a way that was out of line. Most people are willing to reconnect. You see a kid's birthday. Hey, I saw his kid's birthday. Happy birthday to him. Hope you guys are doing great. Reach out. Start the conversation back up. Bring people back into your life. Something very sad happened between 2016 and 2020 that I've never seen in my 42 years of life. I saw scores of people that I knew throw friendships away. They threw friendships away. They said, oh, you're voting for this one? You're not my friend anymore. And I get it. And I'm not gonna get political. I understand how people could feel very strong about that, but throwing away a friendship you've had since kindergarten because of how someone's voting, you will regret when you're 80. you will not look back and say, oh, it's gonna have less friends. Now that you want to have as big a network as possible. If anything we learned from COVID, being isolated is not healthy for us. We're social beings. So connect, reconnect, build networks as you can. I'm going to speed through these so it won't take too long. So the idea of losing your worth and value, they will erode it. Another reason for emotional attachment is legit. You actually may love your abuser. They are a person and everyone's worthy of love as God.